Hello and welcome to episode 51 of the DX Mentor, a DXpedition to Vanuatu. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bill, AJB. If you are new to this podcast, welcome. We have a back catalog of over 50 episodes covering many aspects of DX in both podcast and YouTube format. Please check us out. If you're new to DXing, I would really recommend episode 1 as it was recorded with several world-class DXers. You will get a feel of the excitement that goes with chasing DX. Remember, if you like what you find, please subscribe, like, and share. I received a couple of emails that I would like to mention. The first sender wrote, quote, "Thanks so much for the informative and enjoyable podcast. You and Joe do a great job interviewing your guests, and I've learned a lot about DXing and DXpedition from your show. I really enjoyed the recent T32 EU podcast. That was the group that was going to Terrasal. Perhaps I missed it, but I would like to hear more about the radio equipment they used. That goes for all the DXpeditions. It is great to hear about the antennas, but the rigs and the amplifiers are also of great interest to me. I don't know if your sponsor would mind you talking about other manufacturers' equipment, but I would really like to hear about it. I thought I heard your guest recently mention an FTDX10, but I wasn't sure. Anyway, keep up the good work. You guys are providing a great service to the DX community." And that was from Rob, N4NT. Rob, our sponsor is very open, would not mind our discussing the rigs at all. We will try to do a better job at drilling down on the rigs and the amplifiers. Thank you for listening and keep us in the loop. Well, here's another one. Bill, still enjoying the podcast content and guests. Keep up the good work. When I started drafting this email in early August, I finally hit my 100 DXCC entities on mixed with all of the LOTW delayed processing trickling in after the big ARRL cyber incident. As it came back online and folks started uploading their logs to LOTW, I got confirmations from West Malaysia, Belarus, Uruguay, and St. Vincent. A confirmation from Sardinia took me to 100 confirmed electronically. Beyond that, Sint Maarten and Kazakhstan confirmed the QSL on paper, but I haven't had a chance to visit my local card checker in person. I applied for the award a few hours after my 100th was confirmed, but I'm still waiting. As I keep racking up new bands, entities, and modes, I'm patiently waiting for the paper, as this really is a marathon, not a sprint. I also wanted to mention that as an avid POTA activator and hunter, it was so great to get N5J in August on 12, 15, and 17 meters, as they activated from UM0005 Jarvis Island National Wildlife Refuge. It was almost tempting to try to work them once a Zulu day when they are idle calling CQ to get more hunter credit. Many of the DXpeditions are adding a POTA element to them, which I think is positive and will hook many others on DXing. One other thing that I wanted to share is, since I started DXing, I used the OQRS service on Clublog to get QSL cards and confirmations on a QSL by QSL basis. Once I created an account and uploaded my logs, it was amazing how many other bands and QSL opportunities I picked up in my existing logs using the Clublog matching tool. I figured the site was just for advanced folks that are on the other side of the world operating the DXpeditions, but I would have started with it earlier if I knew how much utility it really has. So thanks for all. And that was from Aaron, Nancy 6, Alpha Charlie Alpha. Thanks, Aaron, and congratulations. Joe and I want to learn from others and share what we have learned the hard way so others won't have to. Emails like yours tells us we're doing our job and we appreciate it. And finally, I received this note from Ken, KB8KE. Hey, Bill, I just watched the DX Lab YouTube presentation. I'm blown away by its capabilities. I've used another for many years, but I think I am going to change. Fantastic presentation. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Ken. As I mentioned, I've used DX Labs for a long time, and I'm still learning something new all the time. Good luck with it, and thanks for the email. And of course, you can drop me a note if you have any questions. And as these folks have done, if you have a question or comment, please send it along to me at thedxmentor@gmail.com. So here's some details about our discussion today. Van, N4VGE, is the point of contact and organizer for a DXpedition to Vanuatu October 15th to the 30th for the CQ Worldwide Single Sideband Contest. The Vanuatu call sign will be YJ0VV for the DXpedition. They will be staying at a luxury villa about 15 kilometers from Port Vila on Efate Island. Vanuatu is number 83 on phone and number 115 overall on Clublog's Most Wanted DX Countries list. They will be taking a Flex 6700, Yaesu 891, Icom 7100 and 7300, two amplifiers, a BuddiHex 6 to 20 meter antenna, four 40 meter verticals, a DX Commander Expedition vertical, 10 through 160 inverted V, and a 160 meter loaded long wire. So they are bringing plenty of antennas. The QSL Manager is K4 NHW Nathan. They will be using N1MM Plus logging software for the DXpedition and have a goal of 40,000 contacts during the contest using 1,500 watts, high power M2. Probably not enough for a top 3 spot, but a decent showing. I would say with the operators that they have going, they got a good shot at a top 3 spot. There are 4 hams and 4 VGE, K4 QQG, K1NZ, and K2 SAV Savo, and 2 wives going along as well. So along with Joe, WAGEX, my guest today is Van, N4 VGE. Without any further delay, let's get started. Well, hello and welcome to the latest edition of the DX Mentor in podcast and YouTube form. I'm Bill, AJ8B, and I'm really very excited to have a excellent DXpedition to talk about. We have a team leader with us who's going to describe the whole thing. And I love getting them on beforehand. We can get their expectations, and then hopefully we'll invite him back after the fact and he can tell us how they did. And but we're really excited. And as you are, a lot of our listeners are young DXers. What you're seeing is in the fall and the winter are great times for DXpeditions to head out. Sometimes they overlap CQ Worldwide, and there's a good chance to both work them and pick up points. So it's just a great time to chase DX. And of course, with the sunspot cycle being like it is, it's just a great time on the bands altogether. So anyway, that's me, Bill, AJB. And as always, we have Joe, WAGEX. Joe, good evening.
Well, good evening, and welcome to the podcast, fan. I'm Joe, WAGEX, been around since 1970, been hooked on DXing since the get-go after I passed my technician license. Been on 62 DXpeditions. Some of them were big major trips, and others I was just by myself out on some little island playing ham radio, and just love it. So Van, tell us how you got started.
Well, good evening, and thank you for having me on board. Back in the 60s, I was given a radio for Christmas that I could a kit that I could build. It was a shortwave listening radio, and I built that and listened and enjoyed shortwave listening back in my pre-teens and my teens. So it wasn't until 1981 that I was able to get my license. I grew up out in the country in the Eastern Shore of Maryland. It was 3 hours to get over to Baltimore and to take the test. So back in those days, I had to learn code 13 words a minute. So I passed that and had my general license. My call then was WB3HGQ, and I used that through the 80s. In the early 80s, we had a contest station in St. Michael's, Maryland, with rhombics and Yagi antennas, and we used Drake equipment, the T4 series and the Collins amplifiers. So we ran multi-2 out of a silo out of my house. My house had a silo built into it. So that was our station. And we had a lot of fun and had a lot of contacts, did real well back in those days. But then I kind of dropped out a little bit until 2018. I relicensed under N4 VGE at my current call, and then I upgraded to Extra. So That was in 1980. That was 2018 here in Charleston, South Carolina. So, and I've been enjoying, I still do a little bit of shortwave listening, but mostly I'm on the DX. I enjoy DXing, and I enjoy POTA work. I've got about 455 unique activations in POTA.
Gee,
So
Wow.
we travel in a motorhome, and we stop at the parks and activate from the parks and from the motorhome.
You know, we had Thomas, K4SWL. Is that right? That's the right call, isn't it, Joe?
yes.
And
Yeah.
he was on a couple of weeks ago. We were comparing POTA and chasing DX, and I am continually just absolutely amazed at how many folks are doing POTA and SOTA, and I feel like it's something I'm missing. I'm going to have to roll up my sleeve. So, so when did you decide though? Boy, I really I don't want to just work DX. I'd like to be the DX, and I want to make sure. I don't think we introduced Van Harridge, N4 Victor Golf Echo is our guest, but you're also known as YJ0 Victor Victor. So why did you want to be the DX all of a sudden? That seems like a headache to me.
Well, back in 2022, I got the bug that I wanted to be the DX station. I enjoyed POTA, and I did most of my contacts before 2022, in the parks. And I enjoyed the pileups that I acquired during the POTA activations, because I would activate some reasonably rare parks. And I talked to my wife about it, and she said she was all for it as long as she could go with me. So I had to find a place that had accommodations and an airport. And I wanted to. I went down the list on Clublog to see what I could find. So I investigated the lowest stations, and my wife wouldn't go to North Korea. So that was out, and we landed in Vanuatu because the accommodations, we found the luxury hotel there that we're having our ham station at a luxury. Actually, it's not a hotel; it's a villa. So we have the run of the grounds. It's right on the ocean, and my wife, it has air conditioning even. So it's a luxury DXpedition, thanks to my wife, and we started looking around to see who would like to join us. And I found some great team members that to join us, and look forward. We all are looking forward to having a great time. We have 2 wives that are going, 4 hams, 2 wives, and my daughter is also going. She's 32. She's not a ham yet, but she'll enjoy the 2 weeks there in Vanuatu.
Oh, sure.
So
Sure.
So can you tell us about the other hams that are going then, about your team there?
sure. The first one was John Schroeder. Call is Kilowatt 4, Quebec, Germany. And he's out of Hilton Head, South Carolina. So he's not too far away from where I am. And he joined, he was the first one to join, and he's then we have Nick Maslon, Kilowatt 1 Nancy Zulu, and he's out of New York. Nick is out of New York. I'll take that back. He's out of Massachusetts.
Okay.
He's from Massachusetts. The next one was Savo, which was Brian Savacool, Kilowatt 2 Sierra Alpha Victoria, and he's out of New York. So, and he's bringing, and Savo is bringing his wife Judy, and we're looking forward to. I haven't met Savo. His nickname, Brian's nickname is Brian Savacool. His
Okay.
nickname is Savo.
Savo.
And I haven't met him and his wife, but we're looking forward to it.
I think Savo and I have a relationship because I believe I am the DX contributor to the This Week in Amateur Radio podcast. And I
Right.
believe he is a commentator or reporter for the same thing. At least he's I know there's a K2 named Savo, so it's got to be him.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so we got some common out. Now, if I wanted to tuck myself into one of your suitcases and come along, is there room?
Well, we've got 500 pounds of equipment that we're taking. And the airline only lets us carry 3 bags per person. So we're spreading out the luggage and the weight because we've got amplifiers, radios, 1,000 feet of LMR 400, the antennas. We've got 4 push-up poles, fiberglass push-up poles, 12 meter, and we'll total is about 500 pounds. Right now, the count is 11. Looks like we can get it all in 11 suitcases or boxes. Some of it has to go in boxes.
Sure.
So,
Wow.
yeah, the idea is that I have to ship it to the individuals, and then they carry it on the plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe has said one of the hardest things to deal with is coax.
Right. I started out, I thought I could use some R58 and the LMR 2240, but I had too much loss. So we switched to the LMR 400, and we'll have less loss. Also, it's 300 feet to the beach. So one of those, we're also taking a true ladder line antenna with 600 ohm ladder line. And that's got 300 feet of ladder line to get down to the beach for that antenna.
Okay.
So,
Joe, did you have a question?
Yeah, well, I forgot what it was.
It's okay. So your
I'm sorry.
website says that you're still looking for some additional hams. Is that correct?
that's right. We've got 7 people at this point taking up 4 beds. We have 1 more bed, queen size bed, and either 1 more ham or a ham and his wife, or 2 more hams that can share a bed. So we've got the 4 on the team so far. I forgot to mention Nathan Wood, Kilowatt 4 Nancy Hotel Whiskey, is their a QSL manager, and he's part of the team also.
Okay. Yeah, I will put all that information in the show notes. So if someone's interested,
Okay.
they certainly can contact you. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember my question. I'm sorry, Bill. Van, tell us what your air flight connections are. You'll leave home, and how are you going to end up getting to Vanuatu?
We're leaving Charleston on the 13th of October, going through Charlotte. I'm going through Charlotte, and so John and I are going through Charlotte. And then we all gather at LAX.
Okay.
From LAX, we'll take Fiji Air through Fiji and then to Vanuatu. So it's about a 30-hour travel time and
Wow.
a couple stops. We have to change airplanes at LAX because Fiji is not a partner with. We're flying out to LAX on American, and they're not a partner with American. So we'll have to pick up all our bags at LAX and transfer them to Fiji Airs at departure.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's going to be interesting.
yeah. I've done that a few times and it's not fun.
No. So
No.
we've got 4 hours to make that connection, to get our bags, get them over to departure, and get them shipped out.
So Van, have you ever thought, I've been to the Bahamas many, many times, and
Yes.
every time that I go, I always think, why don't I leave all this radio equipment, antennas and coax? Why don't I just put it underneath the bed and it'll be there, because we always rent a house.
Right.
So this is your second trip there. Have you ever thought about just leaving all the stuff there?
No, well, this is our first trip.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I've never been to Vanuatu, and that's one of the appealing things about it, because I've never been there. There's waterfalls and volcanoes and all kinds of things for the ladies to see while we're operating. And then maybe we'll sneak a little time off to do some sightseeing.
Sure.
We're renting a pickup truck while we're there. One reason is to get the equipment from the airport back to the villa, which is about 20 kilometers away from the airport, right? So we'll have a pickup truck that we can use while we're there. It seems that the food there, the markets are good. You might be eating some rodents might be on the menu, so that'll be a new experience.
well, who knows?
That's right.
You can
Wow.
keep us posted on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you going to, you've got quite a collection of equipment as a Flex 6700, a Yaesu 891, Icom 7100, 7300, amplifiers, various antennas and stuff. Are you all bringing your own individual stations? And how are you doing that?
I'm bringing most of the equipment from Charleston.
Okay.
Antennas, the I have two amplifiers. I have the Icom 1200, and I have an Ito 91B. It's an older amplifier, but it goes up. It lopes along at 1500 watts easily. So only problem is it weighs 62 pounds.
I was about to say that one's pretty heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm going to take the transformer out of it and ship it in one piece of luggage, and then put it back when we get there.
Okay.
It runs off of 240, which is the Vanuatu's power is 240.
Oh,
So that's fine, and I run it off of 240 here in the shack. And then the Flex 6700 and the I also am taking the Yaesu for the POTA work, because there's two POTA on the island that we're going to be on is Shefa, and the right there on the main island we're flying into Port Vila, and then Shefa is the name of the state or the island.
Okay.
And there's two parks that are recognized to be on.
So what's the population of your island?
Population is 326,000 on all, and there's about 18 islands that are populated. There's 40,000 in Port Vila, and a good number of that population are Australians. There's a big expat community there with Australians. And I've contacted a few of them to get some idea, and they've offered to help us out when we're there. Because one of the things we're planning on is having bamboo to help with the antennas. To use bamboo to hold up the we're building 2 pennant antennas for 160 and 80 for receiving purposes.
Okay.
And then we've got this inverted V to help on the transmission side, and then receive side would be the pennant antennas. Two of them set at right angles to each other.
So you're taking a serious shot at top band then. You're really trying to get some 160 meter Qs in the long band.
That's right, in 80
Yeah,
and
okay.
160.
Yes.
So you have pointed out POTA actives. There's going to be 2 different POTA activations while you're there?
Yes, there's 2 POTA parks already recognized on the main island. They've never been activated. So we hope to activate those. We're going to try to activate them with 100 watts. And see, with a DX Commander Expedition antenna.
Okay.
So we'll see if we can reach out with that. I got a feeling it's going to be mostly Japan and Australia.
Yeah.
We'll be talking to.
So if I did it right, I could work you on one of those islands. I would get POTA credit, IOTA credit, and then DXCC credit as well.
That's correct.
Wow, trifecta. Very cool.
And then, of course, we'll be there for the CQ Worldwide DX single sideband contest, and all hands will be on deck for that. There are some smaller contests that we'll participate in also while we're there.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty smart because you mentioned that Vanuatu is 83rd on phone overall in the world and 115 overall. So if you're going to unfocus, it would be sideband. That's very smart. Joe, go ahead.
On your POTA activations, Van, are these 2 activations relatively close to where you're staying?
Well, the island is not very big. So I guess the island is maybe 100 kilometers across from end to end.
Yes.
And the POTA the parks will be 60 or 70 kilometers in different directions.
Okay.
So that's not too bad.
No,
it's not.
We do I do want to point out that according to in 2023, Vanuatu was named world number 7 in the best places to travel.
Oh, wow.
really?
In the Huffington Post, it says that they're the most underrated island paradise on Earth. So I thought either one of those makes it more interesting.
Absolutely.
Sure.
They never said that about Midway, did they, Joe?
No, nothing interesting about.
So are you going to be staging the antennas and the equipment, or you've got it all sorted out and you're going to take it and off you go?
Well, yeah, everything will be pre-built, pre-tested, and then we'll take it, and then we have a week to set everything up before the contest, before the CQ contest. So we're arriving there on the 15th of October, and the contest is on the 26th, starts on the 26th. So we'll have 11 days to get everything set up and tested. We'll make sure the radials are out for the verticals, and make sure that the hex beam is working well and so forth.
Right.
What about the weather conditions, Van? What do you expect weather-wise?
The weather is in October is about 83 during the day, average 83 during the daytime, down at 70 at night. And the ocean temperature is about 80. So
80.
A good temperature for swimming, a little scuba diving or
snorkeling.
Snorkeling. So
Wow.
everybody should have a good time, and we're right on the ocean. We have access right off the beach to do some swimming.
Right, right. So how did you, I'm always curious, how did you pick the antennas? Was that from your own experience or talking to other DXpeditioners, or I'm just curious.
Well, that was a lot of conversation at the Hamfest. I enjoy going to the Hamfest in Orlando. I've never been to Dayton or Xenia, but I'd like to go. But we go to the Hamfest in Orlando, and then a number of other Hamfests. We've got a Hamfest coming up this weekend at in Alabama that we're looking at. We're not sure because of the storm. We're not sure how that's going to work out. So, but if we get a chance, we'll go there also.
Okay.
But it was a discussion that we had with the Southeast DX Club and the local club, the Trident Amateur Radio Club. And then I'm a member of the Low Country Contest Club also, LCCC, and that club had a good bit of, they're local, so I was able to get a lot of information from them. So, matter of fact, one of my tuners in the amplifier came from that local club.
Huh. I noticed that you say here, this is another question we always like to ask.
Okay.
You have, you're hoping to hit 40,000 QSOs during the contest.
Right.
Okay, so
that's
that's
our stay.
right. So that's one goal. But overall, what would be your, it's a month after you get back. You're on the, hopefully you'll be on the podcast with us again, telling us about, the shark you caught and with hands and everything else. And then I'm going to say, well, Van, would you consider it a success? And you'll say yes, because.
Right.
So do you have something in your mind where you think this was absolutely worth the effort if we can do X?
Well, I'd like it to be that we were able to operate the radios 24/7 for the entire period that we're there. I know that's going to be difficult because of the, daytime, nighttime, propagation from Vanuatu in the southern hemisphere. But I like to be able to say that we were able to operate the radios 24/7 on 2 stations. But that's 4 hams so far that we've got, and we'd like to operate them as much as we can. Yeah, the goal is to stay on the radios and keep our butt in the chair.
Yeah.
So the BIC is important.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yes.
So that would be, and then I'd like to be able to say that I'd like to plan a trip back after, when I get back, I like to say I'd like to go again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
very cool. And that was going to be my next question. What's next? I mean, if I'd always thought that after you make one trip, it's going to be like, okay, I like this. We got to do this again. Right. So certainly going back would be one thing.
Ask Joe about that.
Well, I know.
Joe doesn't know when to stop.
Well, I stopped all the big trips because it's just, as you well know, Van, there is a lot of, well, you'll know when you get back, there is a lot of work in doing all this, setting the stations up, building the antennas, running the coax, troubleshooting. There's always something that seems not to be working right that you gotta consider fixing. So,
well, I think, I like the challenge. I always participated in field days, and no matter how, where I was, I participated in field days and always had too many antennas. But who can have enough antennas?
that's right.
So I always enjoyed field day and getting out there and trying out the new antennas and seeing what we could do with them. So, but Vanuatu, you know, a DXpedition doesn't have to be a trip in the wilderness in a rubber raft.
Right.
You've
Yeah.
done that, Joe.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not fun.
But it
So-
was an experience.
That's right. Van, these other team members you have
Yes.
they been out on DXpeditions before?
No, it's the first expedition or DXpedition for all of us.
Okay, good.
So, and then we've got I've got is a range of ages from 82 to 40 or 30, you know, for the hams. So we got two older guys, myself and John, and then we've got the younger guys around 40.
Wow.
So, but John and I can hang in there with them. We'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you have, are you going to try to address all different modes, or is it really going to be mostly a sideband DXpedition?
It's a sideband DXpedition. We might, we'll also do some FT8 in particular because there's some contesting for FT8 while we're there. So we'll do some Superhound on the FT8 while we're there,
Okay.
and that should work out well. My Flex does a good job with FT8.
Mhm.
So what about 60 meters? Is that allowed in Vanuatu, or?
Yes, we've
Okay.
got the same band plan in Vanuatu as we have in the United States.
Oh, okay.
Oh, great.
So we'll do 30 and 60 and as well. We'll go down as far as 6. We've got 6 both on we have the hex beam 6 through 20, and then so we'll have the 6 meters there. The inverted V is 240 feet. The wire for the inverted V is 240 feet overall, and that covers 10 through 160, especially on 80 and 160. It's 88% efficient with that, with the ladder line that I'm using.
Okay.
And then we'll be able to hear the pennants that I'm building for receiving will boost our hearing so we can hear the stations. That's what I found out in my experience. They can hear me, but I can't always hear the
Sure.
other people. So that's why we think these 2 pennants will be important. And I just got the preamp, a 40 dB preamp from DX Engineering to hook up to the pennant antenna.
So one thing I'm curious about, obviously, as you get closer and closer, you have more and more communication with your team members. Are you doing that through Zoom or through email or phone calls or all of the above, or?
It's all of the above, mostly email.
Okay.
And we'll text if it's something time critical, it's just something short. But and then I should mention that DX Engineering is a major sponsor for the DXpedition.
Okay.
They came through in a big way, and we really appreciate their help. But up to this point, it's all self-funded. So everybody's got their well, Nick and Savo are bringing their Icoms, and then John is helping carry equipment down for me from Charleston.
Okay. Huh.
What kind of Icom radios are the guys bringing?
He's bringing a 7300. One's bringing a 7300, and the other's bringing a 7100.
Okay.
So, and we'll use one of those for the second station and one for a backup.
Okay.
Sure. Sure.
Wow. That's really going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We're all excited about going. We're talking to a Joyce who lives on Vanuatu to make some shirts for us, but we have to wait until we get there to get our shirts.
Yeah.
So she's going to she's got a nice looking shirt that she's going to print the 2024 Vanuatu DXpedition on for each of us. So,
Oh, great.
so
yeah.
we'll have a group picture and be able to give her some credit for the shirts that she's providing.
So you'll do QSL cards, LOTW, I guess the regular stuff.
Right. We'll do the streaming on the from during the we'll do streaming.
Oh, great.
If
All
I
right.
had that correct, we'll do streaming or live LOTW. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's live stream on Clublog and then,
Yeah.
then upload to LOTW.
Right. We'll do
Right.
a live stream on Clublog. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, live stream.
Yeah.
You know, if you think back 25 years ago, and I had this experience when I got my 3 Whiskey 8 Romeo card from Vietnam that said not in log. That was just so depressing. So the
Yeah.
you know, the Clublog and the streaming and LOTW live, that's all just great.
Right.
You know, it sure helps a ton.
'Cause
So
I always-
they must have good internet there then.
They have internet there. It'll be right in the house, and the only thing we have to watch out is the voltage, because the voltage is 240 instead of 120, and don't plug anything in that's not rated for.
Yeah,
We- I ordered a soldering iron the other day that was 240 because my solder station wouldn't handle the 240.
Yes.
well, yeah, that'll make your electric razor fly right off the.
Yeah. Been there,
my
done that.
Well,
Huh.
Joe, did I miss anything?
No, I think we're doing good, Bill.
Man,
Yeah.
it
No.
really sounds like you got a great handle on it, and you
Yeah.
got some enthusiasm. To me, would be huge. And if everybody's pumped up and ready to go, and
Yeah.
two
I
weeks
thank
in,
you.
2 weeks in paradise, that's hard to beat.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, also while we're there, you were talking about the different I brought up different contests. Is the Asian Pacific Fall Sprint on CW, and Nick and Savo, I think, are both CW operators.
Okay.
John and I aren't.
Okay.
So they'll do that, but that's only a 2-hour
Yeah.
sprint.
Yeah.
So
And-
and then
and-
there's an FT8 contest on the 19th and 20th that we'll be participating in.
So
we
day
should
to
all-
day, will the two guys be on CW or just FT8 inside van?
No, they'll be on for the Asian Pacific is CW event only. So
Okay.
they'll be, but that's only 2 hours. It's on October 20th.
Yeah.
So the times are listed on the
So,
Clublog.
okay. So what about your food preparations? The place where you're staying, do they provide your food, or do you guys have to bring it in and hopefully the girls will cook for you?
No, we're going to stop by the grocery stores and at the local markets and find out what we can find. There is a couple restaurants within walking distance of our villa,
Oh, great.
so we can have pizza and whatever they serve in the restaurant, in the full size a full menu restaurant.
Yes. Okay.
And that's on Ian Beach. It's Ian Beach is within walking distance of the villa, and that's a hot spot for the locals.
Wow.
And that's where you want to go and have a beer with them, maybe, huh?
Yeah, they have, and I forgot the name of the local alcohol there, but there's a local beer that you have to acquire I understand you have to acquire the taste to.
Okay.
Oh.
So have you checked out, is there like a hardware store on the island in case you
There-
forgot something, or?
Sure, there's 3 hardware stores.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, and 1 computer store. So
Oh,
if I get overwhelmed, I might not take my I'm planning to take a monitor for my Flex 6700, and but we might have to stop by the local computer store and pick up a monitor.
Okay.
Depends on how much overweight I am.
Oh, you look fine to me.
I was
Wow.
overweight one time, and so I'm at the airport and taking all this junk out, my wife and I was just like a pound overweight. And I finally took a brand new roll of duct tape.
Right.
So I took the duct tape out. I was within the weight requirements, and I gave the girl the duct tape and told her to take it home. Why throw it away? I said, it's a brand new roll of duct tape. I don't care what you do with it. Take it home.
You didn't put it on your carry-on, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's right. It's not just any kind of duct tape. You got to get some decent duct tape.
Yes. Yes,
So-
for sure.
But we're looking forward to it. We're all excited about going and looking, that one or two more hams would be good. Are you sure you don't want to go, Joe? We got air conditioning in the bedrooms.
No, the last trip I came off of several years ago, I'm 82 years old. Hell, I'm an old guy, and and it's hard work. And a lot of times in the South Pacific or even in the Southern Caribbean, it gets quite warm, quite warm.
Yeah.
So I gave it up. I've been doing it for years and years and enjoyed every minute of it.
Right.
You have to come to your senses, and enough is enough, I guess.
Well, Joe, if you're not going, maybe Bill wants to go on a trip to the South Pacific.
I'd go, but I'm out of vacation. I'm still working, so Van, one thing that Joe and I talk a lot about, whether it's here or it's at, we've been at SEDCO several times and given presentations there, and we both do the DX dinner and stuff. It's very difficult to appreciate all the work until you've been through it. And I always use the example, maybe I'll work you guys on 30 meters because that's where I really need you. So now I got you, and I tune off and I go somewhere else. Well, you're still there, you're there another week, and then you got to tear down, and you have all the expense, and you got to bring it all back, and then it's got to be cleaned up and put away. If you have contributors, you've got to take care of that, all the QSL chores. There is a tremendous amount of work that goes into this that I don't think until you've been through it, you have any idea how much work it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be fun, and I know it's a lot of work, but we're having fun doing it. I'm glad I got started in 2022 because it's 2 years ago, and I was looking over my notes from two years ago and we're getting ready to sign a contract for the rental car. But it's just one of the things that we have to make sure that are taken care of before we get there.
Sure.
Wow. Wow.
I always figured that so many trips, it takes bare minimum of a year to plan. And then like Bill was just talking about, when you get home, it takes another year to wind down from the operation because of the QSL cards and thank you letters and all kind of little things that you have to do that most people don't think about.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and I'm glad we have a good QSL manager that's done it before. So Nathan will do a good job for us there to keep everything moving forward.
Sure.
So is he also kind of considered a pilot? So if we need to get, we have band requests or something, we should go through him, or maybe we don't.
You can email me directly at vanherridge@gmail.com. It's on my QSL page or QRZ page.
Right.
If you have a particular, if you want to set up a schedule, that would be best for us if you just email me directly.
All right, now I'll make sure that's in the show notes as well. So.
Okay.
Very good.
Sure.
Well, my friend, I wish you luck, and I want to invite you right now to get back on with us about a month after you get back. We'll let you decompress a little bit, and then
that'll be good.
Find out lessons learned. Sometimes that's the most important thing, and maybe there won't be, and that would be terrific.
Oh no, there'll be lessons learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Joe told me there's not a trip he's not come back from that it was like, oh, I should have done this, or I wish I would have done that, or
I wish I hadn't forgot this, you know.
or too much rum or anything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll invite you back because next spring he and I are thinking about BOTA, which is breweries on the air. So if you're interested in that, we
Okay.
we got to work on that. There may be a market for that.
Yeah, there
You're
might be-
right.
Yeah.
Well, I think POTA is doing a great job with their those IOTA. I mean, but POTA is doing a great job with promoting the parks on the air.
Boy, they are. And I Joe and I, we were at the DX forum, right, for at Hamvention, and there were excellent speakers, and there was, I don't know, 350, 400 plus people in the room.
Yes.
And there were a few seats open, and then as we all cleared out, I came back about 20 minutes later for the POTA forum, and there was standing room only. There were people hanging from the rafters and in the doorways, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I'm not disparaging them. That's not what I meant. I just didn't realize the popularity of it. That's all.
Right.
And now that I'm paying attention to it, I don't think a day goes by where there aren't POTA spots, or there's not, an email about, hey, so-and-so's at this park. If you can work them, he'd appreciate it. It's really something.
Every band that I get on, Bill, and I'm pretty active a DXer from home, but I'll be on whatever band, and if I see a spot for a POTA guy or on FT8 it scrolls up the screen, I always click on them and work them quick.
Right.
Give the guy or the girl a contact.
Yeah,
So-
well, they appreciate that. And
Yes. Yes.
Before long, you'll be up there hunting as a full-time job.
There you go.
But I guess the rule of thumb is, even if you're not into POTA right now, if you see somebody, you got to work them, because when might there be another POTA Vanuatu DXpedition, right?
That's right.
So
That's
if we can get that, and then you never know, you may announce next year, and then also we got sunspot issues and corona issues, and you can't make it happen. So hit it while it's hot. So
Yes. Do it.
all right,
while you
Van.
can.
Safe travels to you, and
Okay, well, thank you.
And we'll stay in touch. We'll get you in the log and get you back a month after you get back.
Okay, that's a deal. I'll look forward to it, and I appreciate you all having me on.
All right,
Well,
buddy.
you're certainly welcome. Nice to meet you, and the best of luck to you and the team and the girls.
Thank you very much.
You
You're
got to get
certainly
up here
welcome.
today.
Bye-bye.
You got to get up here to Xenia some year, though. We got to
Okay,
have
you're
you
right.
out.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
right.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I hope you found that as interesting as I did. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the DX Mentor. I would like to thank our sponsors, Icom America, the Daily DX, DX Engineering, and the Southwest Ohio DX Association. You won't find anyone more committed to DX than these sponsors. I would especially like to thank our guests today, Van, N4 VGE/YJ0VV, and Joe, WAGEX. I would love to have your feedback, answer your questions, and provide help with any DX or amateur radio issues that you may have. If you need clarification on something, or you just have a question, email me at thedxmentor@gmail.com. Please drop me a line if you have achieved an all-time new one, received recognition, or you have a DX event that you would like us to mention. We would be happy to do that. If you're enjoying these DX Mentor episodes, please hit the subscribe button. You can also click like if you have found this one particularly interesting. If you don't want to subscribe, please drop me a note and let me know why. We just want to get better. 7-3 for this episode, and thanks to my XYL, Karen, for her love and support. I hope to see you in the pile-ups.